Hello and welcome to another episode of Discover with Spinati. I am your host, Dr. Halim Spinati, and today we have an amazing podcast. Thank you for tuning in to Discover with Spinati. For those that are watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. For those that are listening on some kind of device as you're walking the dog or you're jogging or doing something else, these days probably mowing the lawn, the way that the weather is going. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a very, very exciting guest. We have Charlene Doak-Gebauer, and she's going to be talking about children's protection, specifically related to the internet and how we can protect them, and the things that many people don't actually associate with things that could harm children. Very, very passionate about this. This goes out to a lot of the parents and a lot of the people that work around children. This one's for you. So, without any further ado, Charlene, thank you so much for being on Discover with Spinati.
Thank you for having me.
Really, really appreciate it. And I don't want to waste the time that we have together. So let's get right into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. I can see that you have a book there. So maybe talk a little bit about that and then we'll get the ball rolling.
Sure. Okay. Well, I am a computer specialist and a network administrator in education. Okay. And through my experiences teaching, I realized there was a real gap with children, and as far as their safety online. And I had a number of experiences within my family that brought me to where I am now. I started a charity and have written a book about, two books actually, this is my second book, on safety online, which I call The Theory of Digital Supervision. Okay. And the supervision means we should be supervising our children on digital devices.
On any device?
Any digital device. Okay. And it is possible.
Okay. And how long have you been involved in this?
5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
So your first book was published?
In 2016.
2016.
And this book was just published in November.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about this book.
Well, the book is called The Internet, Our Children in Charge. And I named it that because the chances are most often children are in charge of the internet in their homes. Okay. I tell people that this generation is the most independent generation in the history of the world because they're on their cell phones, they're on the iPads, they're on their gaming systems, laptops, with little or no parental guidance or supervision. Too often parents don't know who their children are chatting with. Their kids don't even know half the time who they're chatting with. And what are they doing with their cell phones? Are they looking at them? Do they see the pictures the children have on their cell phones? The biggest problem now is nudes. Children taking pictures of themselves without clothes. And we just had a summit. I'm the founder and chair of a charity called internetsens First. And we just had a big international summit November 9th.
Internetsens First.
That's the name of it. It's like common sense, but internet sense on the internet.
I got you. And is it a website? internetsensfirst.com?
Yes, that's the charity that I'm the founder and chair of.
I got you.
And I asked the parents there, ask your children about nudes. And they were, yeah, okay. My 10-year-old doesn't know anything about that. My 8-year-old wouldn't know anything about that. I was getting calls afterwards, and they said, I cannot believe what my child knows about all that stuff. I cannot believe it. And I said, you see what I mean? That your children are in charge of the internet. They are so independent because their parents keep giving them these devices. And we have a real problem with that. How often have you gone by an elementary school, public school, and the parents are lined up taking their kids to school? They take them to their sporting events, to ballet, gymnastics, yet they give them the key to the router in their home and they say, have fun, go nuts. And the biggest problem is the predators know where their prey is. Their unsupervised children are online, and that's where the predators go.
So what's the biggest danger when it comes to children? And you're talking children, what ages are you talking about, first of all?
Predators are looking for children from birth to 18.
From birth to 18?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the biggest danger in terms of a child doing something on the internet that'll cause them...
Well, the biggest problem?
Yeah, that'll cause them, the predator, to be attracted to them.
That's a loaded question, and I'm sure you can appreciate that. One of the biggest problems is a child sending a nude of themselves. And quite often they'll do that to a friend. They'll send the nude to a friend, but they will send it to a predator as well. And the predator can then make money on that nude. So the biggest thing they want is a nude from a child, because that's their bread and butter. That's where they make their money. And they can morph those pictures into sexual positions with another adult. That's one of the biggest problems. And then when a child takes a picture of themselves with their cell phone or their iPad, the geolocator is usually on. And the geolocator is on every device out there now. It's not just excluded to cell phones, it's on everything. So that when they're sending the picture, the actual location of where the picture was taken is on the picture. So unless they've turned off geolocator. And then they think it's safe to send it by email. Well, unfortunately, there's a header on every email that gives very good information about where the picture was taken. So that a recipient of a picture will know the email, the vicinity of where it is, and the geolocator can be so accurate, it could be even the room in the house that the picture was taken.
Wow. So what's this? Okay, so in terms of, like, you're talking about applications like apps, right?
Yeah.
On the phones, on any kind of smart device. So what kind of apps are we talking about here?
For digital supervision?
Yeah.
None. And that's the beauty of it. Because too many parents, if I talk to them, one thing that's very important for digital supervision is to have a filter.
Okay.
And I tell everyone, how many of you have an email? Well, your email filters mail. If you have a hardware filter, it goes between the router and the computer. Then that filter will be able to filter some of the information that your child, you don't want them to see.
Okay.
But that's good for the computer and the laptop. When a child, have you done gaming? Obviously, you probably have.
I haven't. I'm not much of a gamer.
No.
But I'm into, like, social media apps a lot.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But kids, they're when they're on their online games, the router, the filter, and the computer are here. They're sort of an enclosed area, so that the filter will control where your kid goes online. So
when
then
you use the browser.
Yeah, they use the browser, right?
Yeah.
So then the parents give them a gaming system. So the child goes on the gaming system, and then they go on and they're going to play the game Ark, for example. Well, then they're on a separate server, the Ark server.
Then you have users in the Ark server.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
Where is the filter going to filter that? It's not.
I got you.
Then you get on the cell phone, and the children are using the cell phones. They're addicted. I mean, there are some kids walking, talking on these cell phones, texting. They could be hit by a car. Parents aren't even looking at the cell phones. And there are some people that can put a filter on the cell phone. The thing with these kids is they know how to get around
of course.
so much of this stuff.
Of course.
You can have an app on a phone, you can have a filter.
They can Google it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
So
my question is that, like, if I had a child,
Yes.
okay, if I had a child, what should be my primary concern in terms of what apps are the majority of children using, and what are they doing with those apps, and how can predators actually get access to my children through those apps? So what is the most common or three most common apps that children are using these days?
Well, TikTok is one.
Okay.
Snapchat.
Okay.
Other chatting types of apps that they can use.
Yeah.
And when people tell me what is the worst, I tell them the minute it's advertised, like TikTok, there's a big thing about TikTok now.
Yeah.
Then the predators go to another app.
Right.
So that when parents are really looking at apps and what their children are doing, I tell them you cannot depend on computer software and apps to do your job as a parent.
Right.
So that if your child is on TikTok, are you looking at their cell phone? And then they'll say, oh, but that's an invasion of their privacy. Let me give you an example, and any parent that's listening. Your child has decided to send a nude to someone. on TikTok. And on TikTok, it's videos. They just send these videos, and there's slinky videos, and this is what
And they can send it privately to someone?
Oh, yeah.
On TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Anything, they can do it all. There's private chat rooms. It's, So they do that. And then let's say the police find out about it. And there was just an incident in London, Ontario, where a 9-year-old was sending videos to someone. And people in the United States tipped off the London City Police. I believe that's the way it happened. The police come knocking on your door, which they did. It was about 7 in the morning, and they went barreling up the stairs. They knew exactly where the room was that this kid had done it, geolocator, and confiscated all of the equipment in the house.
This is in London?
In London.
Wow.
And it was just last week. And the problem with the police, the good thing about the police, I should say, is that they don't know if the child is doing it independently or if the parents are involved in creating the video.
Oh my goodness.
So they confiscate everything in the home. And when I'm speaking in schools, I'll ask the children, how many of you own a cell phone? They all put their hands up. And then I'll tell them, you don't own your cell phone. Your parents do. And the Canadian Criminal Code, which is the same in most countries, you're a child until you're 18.
Right.
That's not the age of consent, which people ask. You are defined as a child. Give you another example. A child takes a nude, sends it to Johnny down the street. Johnny's father sees it, and he goes, I'm calling the police. This child, your friend, has sent me a picture of his naked genitalia. The police come, and they talk to the boy down the street that originated the picture. And they will talk to the child separate from the parents. I don't know about you, but when you're a child, quite often you might lie to not be in trouble.
Of course.
So the police will ask the child who took the picture. My daddy took the picture. So then they're interviewing the parent from a whole different perspective. So do you want that conversation?
Wow.
And these pictures are epidemic. They're not just occasional things. When I'm talking in schools, teachers will say, you've got to talk to these kids. We can't stop them doing it. By the time I'm done, when I start, the children are, yeah, we know all about the nudes, blah, blah, blah. When I'm done, they're,
yeah, right.
Because I tell them, do you really want that conversation with the police?
Right.
And when you're over the age of 12, you can be charged. So then you have a criminal record. And then the children will say, oh yeah, but it's wiped out when you're 18. No, it isn't. So your future employer or at border crossings, they will check and they will see that you have been charged with producing and distributing child pornography, and that is the charge, even though it's your body.
Wow.
You can't cross the border. So if your parents want to go on a trip to Disney World, you're not going.
Wow.
This is the magnitude of it. And I've recently...
And this has happened?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
This hit the paper last week because the parents talked about it, I believe. There's a lot more going on that people have no clue. When I say it's in epidemic proportions, I'm not kidding. So my question to parents is, when you have a cell phone for your child, are you looking at the pictures? And they'll say, well, that's an invasion of their privacy. And I'll tell them, is it evasion or invasion? Is it invasion of their privacy or evasion of your parental responsibilities?
Good question.
Yes, because children, when they do that and they're sharing it, can cause so many problems for themselves.
Right, and their families.
Exactly.
Right.
Embarrassment, humiliation, depression, isolation, and then you get to the point where people wonder about killing themselves. And then people will say there have been so many teen suicides now, and I'm like, well, they're under so much pressure, these children.
Right.
And parents are saying, oh, go nuts, go nuts. And people are going into schools, and all these people want to talk to the schools. I was a teacher. I know the dangers in going into schools when you don't know the children. So that I'm very careful anytime I go in. Some people can go in and say something that will trigger a child. So anything I do is reviewed by a registered psychotherapist for that reason, even though I've been trained in the Education Act and a trained teacher.
Wow.
So people go into the schools, they want to train them on how to do that. The kids aren't going to listen unless it's someone that actually knows the education system. It's so important.
So so now you've outlined a lot of the problems that can occur
Right.
with children and the repercussions towards their families. So what's the solution to that? Besides for the parents to ask their kids, let me see your phone, or are you taking any nudes?
Well, that's all digital supervision. The one thing that I tell everyone is to have the router in the parental bedroom for two reasons. People will say, my kid's on the internet all night, and I'll tell them, turn the router off. But make sure there's no unsecured router in your neighborhood, because if there is, the child will get on it. I've been on an unsecured router, I'm sure everyone has. And you can usually tell whose router it is. You know, they've named it some cute name. And I tell parents too that child pornographers will travel neighborhoods looking for unsecured routers and download off those routers. So that the police, when they find out it's being downloaded,
Oh my goodness.
you're the problem.
Wow.
You see, so it's so complicated. The parental bedroom, having the router in the parental bedroom is very important, so that you can turn it off and control it, but to tell your children you're in charge. I've had parents, after the summit, one father they were all right into the whole digital supervision thing, and this father really did it, and he's put a computer right in the kitchen and said, you see, I'm looking at everything you're doing, and the kids know that. And he said, I can't tell you the feeling of relief that through digital supervision, I can supervise what my children are doing. I'm protecting them. That's my job as a parent.
Right.
He came back to me and said, I want 6 more books. And I said, well, why? And he said, I want it for the parents of all my kids' friends. And he said, because when they go to their house, I want them to know digital supervision and how important it is that they supervise what the children are doing.
So digital supervision entails being open with your kids, is trying to supervise what their activities is on their phone or whatever they're using.
It's
to put the router. I'm just trying to put it in steps.
Yeah.
To put the router into the bedroom of the parents.
Right.
And what else does it entail?
Well, digital supervision is in 3 parts.
Okay.
The first part is awareness, which we're talking about now. And the awareness factor is the biggest part of it, because too many people are denying there's a problem. I think now parents are becoming more astute to all of it and realizing, well, what are they doing? Then the second part is method. How are you going to supervise? And I tell them, turn the router off. That's very user-friendly. You can program a router to turn off at certain times. But if you've got the security code, which your children will have, turning it off is the best solution, and having it in the bedroom, but that's the user-friendly way of doing it. And I've made sure everything is user-friendly so that parents don't get scared away.
And the third?
And the third is hope.
Okay.
We can do this. We have to. But there's a strong feeling of helplessness for parents, because they go, I don't know how. I don't know how to do this. So the digital supervision is user-friendly so that you can bring back your children from the internet. You can, and when you give them a cell phone, you make sure you sit down with your children and draw up a contract of behavior.
Like a literal contract? Or
A real contract with your child.
Okay.
And I tell everyone, you draw it up with your child so that you know these are your rules. What are they going to contribute to the contract? That they dock the phone at night. They never take their cell phone into the bedroom or a bathroom for that matter. And the parents have to set that example as well. So that the cell
That's
phone
really
is...
important.
Yes. The cell phone is docked. Where? The parental bedroom. And then once you've got that contract, don't make it a meaningless piece of paper. You make sure everyone is on the same page of that contract. And you
I like that idea. I really like that idea, yeah.
Well, you're doing it together. It's not just
That's right. Because
Right.
you're not telling the child. You're making it like a team effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So they're more invested in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in my book, I talk about the reasons. And your child, I've talked to some people, yeah. I got it. I talked to my child, and he said he's not doing that. And I went, that's it? Did you lie to your parents? Did you lie to your parents? I did. Sometimes I tell the odd little one now. You know, you cannot, as a parent, trust every word your child says. And I know as a teacher, parent-teacher night, every time there'd be one parent that would say, my child never lies to me. And I'd say, well, you're lucky. Because I lied like a drunken sailor to my parents. You know, we've all done it. That's the fun of growing up. But this isn't fun when it comes to doing things online that will endanger you, but your entire family. Do you want to be the parent that has a 9-year-old sending nude videos on Instagram and have the police knocking at your door at 7 in the morning?
What a question. That sends parents into introspection for sure.
It has to.
Yeah.
And is that happening more often? That's one incident that hit the papers because the parents talked about it. There is a whole lot more. Every school I speak in, the principal will say, we've had a problem in this school. Someone was arrested last year. And I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I hear that in every school. I've been in London, Kitchener, Windsor, Toronto, east of Toronto. In every school I go in, they say, we've had someone arrested.
For child pornography?
Yeah, for producing and distributing.
Wow.
And the police will tell you, and I'm sure it's even less than this, in a school of 1,000, one picture will circulate in less than an hour with today's apps.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, I believe it, of course.
Yes. And the other thing that's very startling, and people listening need to realize, is that a number of these children are addicted to pornography. I just got back from Ottawa. I was there last week talking to MPs about putting restrictions on pornography because these children are getting addicted and then they're starting to enact what they see. And when I'm in schools, I say, you're supposed to be 18 years of age to see this. And I ask children that are 8, 10 years old, have you seen inappropriate pictures? They all put their hands up.
My goodness.
And then parents will say, oh, they're just on YouTube. YouTube is not benign to this problem. I'll give you another example. You have a child on a Peppa Pig cartoon video. They're watching them and their daddy and mommy are very proud. They can click on these and my kid's a genius. And I'll tell everyone that doesn't mean you're a genius. It means you can press a button. So, and then they press on a video and it comes up XXX porn. And that is what predators are doing. The first stage in grooming is showing them pornography. And there are children addicted to porn at the age of 6, 7, and 8. And their parents don't have a clue. I get calls from parents a lot. And one child was a boy, he was 7 years old, and a 5-year-old went into the washroom, pulled his pants down, and did things he shouldn't have done. And apparently it happened a couple of times, and the boy told his mother. That is what's called child-on-child sexual assault, which is becoming epidemic because of pornography online.
Wow.
In fact, a good friend of mine, Heidi Olson, from Mercy Hospital in Kansas City, she is in the sexual trauma unit for children. And they said they've done research, and pornography online is now being correlated with child-on-child sexual assault, which is considered epidemic.
Wow.
And she said most of the predators in their unit are between the ages of 11 and 15. And these are children that shouldn't even see that until they're 18. So why digital supervision? We need to get on this and on it now.
Right.
And for those children, their victims, the highest number are aged 4, 5, and 6.
Wow.
So when I'm talking,
if that's not insightful, I don't know what is.
well, this is it. And if parents, and then I'll talk to parents. Oh, I talk to my children, and I'm like, you can't.
Right. Because there are several steps that you have to take in order for you to ensure that your kid is safe.
That's right.
And you talk a lot about that in your book.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Can I just have a...
Yeah.
So this book here, okay, it's called The Internet, Are Children in Charge? And your answer to that is...
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And to find out more information, they can get this book from Amazon?
Amazon, Chapters, Indigo, Kohl's, 40,000 distribution channels. But Amazon is, a lot of people are buying them through Amazon.
There you go. Can they get it online? Is it also?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Well, through Amazon.
No, I mean, like, can they, like, download it, like, on Kindle?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yes, actually, Kindle. It's in Kindle, paperback, and hard copy.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yes.
So there is an electronic copy of this.
Yes, there is.
Perfect. No, there you go. So you can read this on the go, or when you're traveling, you don't have to carry books, or you can buy it. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. That really blew my mind because I didn't actually know there was so much going on.
Oh, I know.
I had a glimpse, like a little bit of a hint. I didn't think it was going to be that in depth. That's something else. That's on another level.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I think your profession is dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that everyone in the medical profession learn about digital supervision because you have children.
Of course.
And then what might alert you to a child that's behaving in a sexual way that you're treating? You see what I mean? Like,
Right.
is it always the parents? Not usually. Like, it can be. The unfortunate thing, though, is that there are parents doing this with their children for their economic gain. Their profession is having their child do videos online.
This is from the predator's perspective.
No, these are the parents doing it and selling it to predators.
Okay. But you're talking about like a very like minute fraction of society.
There are some that are doing it. As far as statistics go,
Yes.
anybody's guess.
Okay. Right,
But-
because how are they going to find that numbers?
Exactly.
Right.
But in my research, it's been more prevalent. Like, I don't talk about it unless it is out there.
You'd have to be pretty sick as a parent in order for you to do something like that.
Well, it happened right in London, Ontario.
And you're not talking about the incident that just happened last week?
No, this is another
Okay.
incident. It was a pediatric photographer. I won't name names because it may still be in the courts, but it was in the newspapers. There's no libelous situation talking about it. And he had a fellow who was transgendered into female, and parents in Kitchener sold their 7 or 8 year old son to them to create videos. This is right in our backyard.
In London?
Yeah.
Wow.
And people thinking it's not happening, this is in everyone's backyard. It is everywhere. And driving children to school is important. And I tell parents, you know what? You're all doing a fantastic job as traditional parents. You can't knock people for trying hard, but we have to add digital supervision
Of course.
to catch up to the digital age.
Of course.
And I give the history in my book that in the year 2000, I was a network administrator in a school. We were really excited. We had the Space Age network, brand new network, and there was a moving picture on the screen. And that's called an animated GIF. Now, it's live streaming. And you look at Facebook Live, and you look at Periscope, and TikTok. You can do live streaming with this material, which is very scary, which is why parents need to get... I tell everyone as a teacher, we learned oppositional defiant children. I wish I'd invented that term, because every human being is oppositional defiant. Parents, please realize I'm not saying you're not doing a good job. I'm saying we need to catch up to the digital age.
Of course. Because traditional, way of raising children is great, but there's also now the additional factor, which you're talking about, the digital factor we have to kind of get a hold of.
Yes.
That's awesome. You mentioned something in terms of something that led you into this field. You said there was an incident of some sort.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I have an identical twin, and she called me one time and she said her little girl, 4 years old, was a victim of child pornography by neighbors. And they were using their children, as well as my niece and another girl in the neighborhood. She was only 4. And she got into the scene. I've taught a lot of sexually abused children into drugs, alcohol, all the rest of it. And got in with the wrong crowd. And then at the age of 22, was killed by a drunk driver. So I started my charity, Internetsens First, in memory of her and in support of all victims. And then I, as a network administrator, discovered child pornography on a computer I was re-imaging. And that was not necessarily the employer that employed me, because I did some freelance work as well. So I do not talk specifics about where. You don't know that garbage until you see it. And it was little 4-year-olds. And when I'm speaking, I tell everyone I'm 5'6". I'm talking about a little child this big being assaulted.
My goodness.
And once you've seen that, and there's someone in your family that age that was a victim, people say you seem very determined. Yes, I am.
Well, thank you so much for your work.
Well,
It's really important.
it is. Very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So where do you see yourself going 5 years from now? 5, 10 years from now? Where do you see this going? Do you see it is going to improve? You said that the third step to this whole process is hope.
Yes.
So I'm assuming there is, but
Yes.
is there a target, something you can measure that you're looking forward to in the
Yes.
next 5 years?
First of all, I would like to have digital supervision a household term. I don't care how many books I sell. I want digital supervision a household term. In fact, there are lawyers that are saying the opposite parent has to practice digital supervision in their family agreement in a divorce. That's one thing. I would like to have it done worldwide. In fact, a summit that my charity had in November, we had people there flew in from Africa, because this is a huge problem in Africa. A fellow from Spain sent a video. This is a huge problem. This is a problem everywhere. I've spoken in Iceland, Europe, India, the United States and Canada. Everywhere I go, they say, you've got to come back and talk more about this. So that's the thing. I would like it global. And my ultimate goal is that our children are protected. There's no more of this unbelievable independence of these children. People go into schools and they'll say, oh, we're telling them, you have to make a decision online. You cannot talk to these people online. These children are too young to be given ownership for that type of decision. 8, 10, 11, 12, they do not have the life skills or the history in their lives to know enough not to talk to these people and send these nudes. They're easily manipulated. Stop giving ownership to these children. Start taking ownership as adults and guiding them online. Don't let them intimidate you. I've given lots of verbiage in my book that kids love to throw around. I had kids in school, they'd come in and they'd say, I'm a gamer. And they'd start tossing computer terminology around, and it was always wrong. And I'd be like, you're trying to intimidate me? And if you're a gamer, you know nothing about computers. You just know how to game. There's a big, big difference. So it's parents taking hold, realizing we need to practice digital supervision to look after and protect our children, in addition to our already honed traditional parenting skills.
Thank you so, so much. I think a lot of parents are going to be very grateful for this podcast. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to reach out to you. The email address for you is?
Internetsens, all one word, like common sense. Internetsens.first, F-I-R-S-T, @rogers.com.
Okay.
And I do speak. I speak wherever anyone wants me. I tell them I speak to crowds of 2 and 1,500.
Okay.
I just ask for a donation to the charity. I don't get paid. I want money for children. We provide therapy for victims of internet child exploitation, as well as we need funding for travel to educate parents. So it's all, and to operate.
What a worthy cause. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And I'll be putting that, because when it goes live on YouTube,
Yes.
I'll put that link for your email and also for the website and a link for your book as well.
Perfect.
In the YouTube descriptions.
Yes.
So you'll see that. And I'll be tagging you on all social media
Oh,
channels.
excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Discover with Spinati. This was a very, very insightful podcast and episode. Hope you gleaned a lot, not just a little bit of information. And if you have any questions at all for Charlene, you know how to reach her. And if you don't, look in the description box below, or you can message me and I'll connect you with Charlene. Thanks again, and until next time, take care.